Hi, I'm Alex, and welcome to Reader Rambles, a weekly podcast where I ramble about bookish topics and I help readers navigate life. It's Wednesday, it is episode 4, and today I'm going to be talking all about how I became a reader. And I'll probably talk a little bit about my reading comprehension in this video because that kind of goes with the story. I hope everyone is having a good week. I just had some technical difficulties. I think you can probably hear my laptop in the background, which is why I'm sitting on the floor. I should not sit on the floor because of my foot, but I am just a little stressed today. I have just been, I have just been through it, honestly. Just mentally, I've been through it this past couple of days, and I just filmed a video where I recommended emojis because I was going to post a reading vlog this week, and I was talking to my friend about this. I just feel like I can never commit to a schedule. Just never anything happens that I want to happen. So I was like, oh, I'm going to film a reading vlog. I'll get it out on Tuesday. That didn't happen. And then I was like, oh, I'll just get it out on Thursday. I have not finished any of the books. I just don't know how people can read that quickly. Like, I just don't. But I also feel like I don't dedicate time to reading because I like to do other things. And sometimes I'm just literally too tired to even read. So, speaking of reading, I am currently reading 2 books. I'm reading Game On, edited by Laura Silverman, and Icebreaker by A.L. Grazia Day. I am loving Icebreaker. Like, I am loving it so much. I love it. It's so good. I just love hockey, and if you give me hockey in any type of format, I will read it. I'm looking at my tripod and I feel like it's crooked for some reason. It might be a little bit better now. I need to figure out how this is working. But I am loving Icebreaker. It is so good. It came out yesterday. My pre-order came and I love it so much. I'm only on chapter 2, but I already love it so much. And it's making me think about my work in progress. So I feel like after this, I'm going to go into Breaking the Ice and do some revisions. I'm honestly scared to go into revisions. It's daunting, but once I actually get into it, it'll be fine. But I'm just thinking about everything that needs to change, and it's just scary. So that is what I'm currently reading. My week is going okay. I'm just a little stressed at the moment, mainly just with technology and hockey. My hockey team has lost 9 games in a row, and last night they played pretty well, but they still lost, and that still means something. Enough about that. Let's get into today's topic, where I'm going to talk all about how I became a reader and my reading journey. That's why it's titled The Reading Chronicles. So my reading story starts off as I used to go to the library a lot as a little kid. My mom would take us to the library a lot when I was a kid, and I actually would hoard copies of Corduroy. I actually have my own copy now. I got it from the bookstore in my library, and I loved that book so much. I think I'm gonna do a little series on my channel where I read picture books that I loved as a kid, because on my Patreon I did reading required reads. So maybe I'll implement that into my main channel, because I'm not doing exclusive videos on my Patreon anymore. It's just too much. So I can't get through a full reading vlog for my own channel, so I can't even get through one for Patreon. I still honestly do not know how people do it. I guess I do because they're fast readers, and I'm such a slow reader. I get distracted so much, but I used to go to the library a lot as a kid, went to school, and that's kind of when my reading kind of went south and just kind of plummeted, because I was not really given things that I liked, but I was actually never given an option. In high school is when I really started reading, because I had a class where we had SSR, which is sustained silent reading, and I would read the same book over and over. I would pick up Looking for Alaska and 13 Reasons Why. But in that class, I actually had to start doing book reports, and I hated it because one, I'm a slow reader, and two, I just hated reading because I was a slow reader and my reading comprehension is so bad. It's improved, but it was so bad back then. So I had to do book reports, and I would honestly end up doing them on like the same books, and I wouldn't even really read them most of the time. There's this one book I want to read for a video because it was my favorite book. It was called The Heartbreakers, and it was like I think it was like a bunch of girls who like got broken up with. And I think that's so funny. I used to read the Click series a lot. I remember going to Target to get like all of the books when they would come out. So I used to read those. But other than that, I don't know. I guess like I've always read contemporary because it's just kind of the easiest thing for my brain to comprehend. But when The Hunger Games became a movie, I was in a reading comprehension class. So like I was in like an IEP, and I would have to just get like assistance with my work. And I just always say this, so I guess I am getting into like the reading comprehension part of my life, but I always say how I just hate how they basically set me up for failure, because I was in college so long because I failed the placement test for reading comprehension, and I'm fine in English, like I'm a fine writer. I just am very bad at like analyzing a book. So when I would get like the passages, I would just kind of not know what to do. And I was talking to my one friend about this recently, that I remember in high school, I think I might have been in like 11th grade, and we were forced to like sit and do reading comprehension, but like I don't remember being taught how to like fix my reading comprehension or like improve it. So I would sit at a computer, and there would be like a video you would watch, and then it would give you prompts. So then you have to like pick, and I would keep failing. But I was also a very quiet kid, so I don't know if I just never told anybody that I just was on the same one for the whole semester. Now, the way my school was set up is you have one semester of like a bunch of classes, and then the next semester you have another, so kind of like college. And I just never told anyone, I guess, or I don't know what happened, but basically I just never improved my reading comprehension. And I remember The Hunger Games was popular, and we were gonna read it because the movie was coming out, and I remember being forced to just sit at a table and read it. And my reading comprehension was bad, and I just didn't want to do it. Like, I remember a teacher took me to the library and was like, here, pick out a book. But like, they didn't really tell me what options I had, because they were like, oh no, you wouldn't be able to read that one. So like, I was never really given a good reading experience, I guess. Like, I wish I would have been told reading was fun, or I wish they would have just given me comics and graphic novels, because then I probably would have liked it a lot better. Like, I cannot sit and read a full novel. Like, now I can, but if I have the audiobook, I can as well. But if you watched my queer romance vlog, I was talking about how disappointed I was that it literally took, or not disappointed, I was embarrassed that it took me like 5 hours to read 49 pages of a book. And that's because I just get so distracted, and I just don't fully read the book. And so that's something I'm gonna get worked out. But it just sucks, because then when I went to college, I went to community college, I had to take a placement test. I failed the reading portions, but I still was enrolled in English. The way college fucked me over, basically. And so when I went to college, they were like, oh, you have to take remedial reading. So I was like in these reading classes, but that actually sparked my love of reading, because I had to log what I read, and the first book I read was Will Grayson. And then this was during the time that like The Fault in Our Stars was coming out, and I was friends with this guy, and he really liked reading. So I was like, okay, like I guess I do too, like I guess I'll try it out. And because I was taking this class, I didn't really have a choice to like not. And then I read The Fault in Our Stars, and I just started reading all of John Green's backlist. And then The Fault in Our Stars came out, and I wrote a blog post, and then I found BookTube. So that was kind of my reading experience. So like I didn't become a big reader until 2013, 2014, which was like my first year of college. And so like shout out to that guy that I was friends with, because he like lent me some of his books. We were both reading The Fault in Our Stars at the same time. And so I actually had like a lot of friends who were readers, but they were like a little bit more smarter than me. Not saying that I'm not smart, but I just felt like I couldn't read anything like better because I can't comprehend it. Like that is why I don't read fantasy, because I would not be able to understand it. I remember I tried to read one when I was in a book club on BookTube. If you're an OG of my channel, if you know, you know, I was in a book club and we had to read a fantasy book, and it was Truth Witch by Susan Tenner, and I just could not do it. I was so confused half of the time, and I just don't have the reading comprehension to be able to understand. And it sucks because like I'm 27 and I still have poor reading comprehension due to the system that failed me, basically. If I would have been given the opportunity to be a better reader and just look at what problems I was having, then I feel like I would be a better reader. Not that it's like a competition or anything, but I just hate that I have bad reading comprehension still. Like sometimes I screw up what I was reading because I misinterpreted it, because I only want to read the dialogue. I can't read to the end of the page. Like sometimes I can if I'm really engrossed in the book, but most times I just can't. So I was a reader when I was in like middle school and all, because I would read the Click series, but then I didn't read until high school, and then I think I only read for like that one class, or I kind of read some of the stories that were given to me, but I wasn't in honors or anything like that, so I kind of had like a lot of help in high school because they were kind of either reading it to me or I was like being able to like listen to it. And I actually really enjoy that because it gave me like a different way to read. But audiobooks were not very popular then as they are now. Like I think that might have been like 2011 or 2012. So more of the stories that I just wish I had more accessibility and was just kind of taught that reading was fun, because I was like, I can't read, so reading is not fun. I don't care about the Blue Man Group. Like literally this was the thing I was stuck on was a video about the Blue Man Group, and I kept getting it wrong every single time. And I don't know, I wish I could remember why I didn't tell somebody, but I was like super quiet, and I also like didn't care. So I was just like, I kind of want to get this over with. So like then I became a reader because like a lot of my interests come from friends or something like that. Like I really got into hockey because my childhood friend, he was into it, and in high school I was like, okay, like I guess I'll watch it, and now here we are. I'm in too deep now. Let me see what I'm at. Okay, so I still have 24 minutes. I didn't realize that this was going to be that quick. This also dives into my story of how I started BookTube. So that's also how I started BookTube, because I was actually a blogger at first, and then I was like, oh, BookTube, because I had been trying to make channels before. Like I think I had like a couple before this. This is the first time I've actually stuck to something. And so I'm going on like 8 years this year, I think. I'm going on 8 years this year, and this is like the first time I've ever stuck to something this long before, so that's pretty fun. But I really did become a reader because of college, and that was just so bizarre because like I had to take 2 reading classes to get into English, yet I literally already took English, so I don't understand. College is a scam. I literally hated college so much, and I'm so glad I'm not in it anymore. I hated it so much. And I think that is because I need to get some things figured out, because I just have a poor attention and poor reading comprehension. Like, I cannot I could not ever focus. Like, Zoom classes were the worst, because I was like, I cannot sit here in my room and like not be doing something, because I'm so used to like listening to a podcast and walking around and like doing other things. So I'm like, I cannot be confined to just this. So whoever is doing virtual classes, shout out to you. You're doing your best, and I'm proud of you, because I hated it so much. Let me think if there's anything else that attributes to my reading journey. I feel like that's kind of it. I never actually read Looking for Alaska until like I think like my first year or two on BookTube. But my first read when I first became a reader was Will Grayson. So that's pretty fun. I think I like borrowed it from a friend because she had it. I did have a lot of like friends who were readers, and my friends have been telling me, like, I'm not friends with them anymore, but they would tell me like, oh, you should become like a booktuber, you should like make YouTube videos. And so shout out, because now I do. And I have for a long time. But I guess like I was a big reader, but I don't have like the story of like, oh, I was always a reader. And my reading was like sporadic, because I think high school just kind of screwed me. I feel like I said before, if they would have just like introduced me to things that weren't novels, I probably would have enjoyed things better. But I also don't have like a family who reads a lot, so like I'm kind of like the only reader who reads a lot of books. Like, they just don't read, which is totally fine, but I feel like a lot of people come from reading backgrounds. Let me know in the comments how you became a reader, if you've always been a reader. I would love to know your reading journey. Are you from a reading family? I don't know why I just thought of this, but Between the Lions, PBS Kids, that was such a good show. I always used to watch that. I don't know, I just thought of that, but reading, yeah, I guess I thought that my reading journey would be a little bit longer than this, but I don't know. I thought about also adding, because one of my favorite podcasts is Very Really Good by Curtis Connor, and he does like TikTok of the day or like something like that. So I thought, why don't I react to bookish memes? So if you want to see that, let me know. But I think that would be fun, because we still have not gotten any requests for advice for me to give. So if you do have a problem that you would like me to talk about and give you some advice on, it's all anonymous. You can send it to readerramblespodcast@gmail.com, and I will read it and give you some advice. Let me think more about how I became a reader. Some of my favorite books, like I said, Corduroy was one. The Click was a big one. That Heartbreakers book was. For Patreon, I read some of my required reads, and I read Everlost, and it was really good. My schooling journey, like, I went to a Catholic school, and then I transferred in 9th grade and went to a public school, and that's where I got more help, because the Catholic school wasn't really helping me, but the public school didn't really help. I mean, they did not set me up to succeed at all. Like, if somebody would have just fucking helped me, it would have been different. But now I'm a reader anyway. So I find it ironic, though, that I am a reader, because a lot of my friends were readers, and I just never got into it until college. I think I started BookTube when I was 21. And that's when I really became a big reader. So honestly, shout out to John Green, because if The Fault in Our Stars didn't come out, I probably would not have been a booktube. I mean, maybe I would have, but I became a booktuber because this YouTuber I used to follow, Dana, she became a booktuber, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I've been here ever since. And you can't get rid of me. I mean, you probably, I don't know. It's almost 10 10 years. Maybe that's when I'll leave. But I'll leave when I feel like I'm not having fun anymore. But that's kind of my reading journey. I don't really have too much more to add on it. I basically was a reader, but then I kind of stopped in high school, and then when I got to community college, I became a reader again, and the rest is history. And I still struggle with reading comprehension, and that is why you shouldn't judge people for the way they read. But I do appreciate when people do say that I've misinterpreted something, because sometimes that happens. If I'm in a reading vlog and I'm like, this happened, and somebody's like, that literally didn't happen, feel free to call me out on it, because sometimes I just don't read the full thing. I just love dialogue. That's why I love graphic novels, because they're so much easier for me to read. Also, an update on the whole no rating thing. It's weird. And I think it's just more because I'm so conditioned to rating that it actually feels a little bit better, because then I don't have to, whenever I would read at the midpoint, I would be like, okay, what am I rating this? Instead of actually enjoying the book. I did enjoy what I was reading, but having to think about what I was going to rate it is so much. So I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I want to do. If I want to keep ratings for arcs, I think that's what I'm going to do right now, but I also am still going to have the whole liked, disliked, loved rating scale, because just giving someone or giving a book a star rating can be just, I don't know, I really have struggled with, in the last year, I've struggled, or even the last few months, I've struggled with giving star ratings, because I'm I don't know. Is it a 3-star? Is it a 4-star? I don't know. I liked it. And that's kind of all that matters. And most people don't rate their books unless they're online like we are. So I've actually kind of enjoyed it, but as I'm doing my readings, as I'm doing my rating for my reading vlog, I'm kind of enjoying it more that I don't have a rating for it, but I still get that little oh, what did I think of this? Because I'm reading a short story collection, I'm trying to figure out what I like and what I dislike. I'm actually really enjoying the short story collection. I posted an Instagram post for it, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me at Pugs and Paperbacks. I think that's it for today's episode. I don't really have a lot more to add. I became a reader, and then I stopped being a reader, and then I was forced to read, and the rest is history. I think when there's people around you who also enjoy reading, it kind of helps a little bit better, but I still wish that I had been given more resources. Because I was assigned female at birth, I was kind of overlooked by the system, which sucks, because I would always go in for testing, and then they just kind of didn't do anything else. They would just be like, yeah, he has a learning disability, and that's kind of it. So I don't know. Maybe I do, but I am gonna try and get that settled, because I want to be able to focus a little bit more on reading. That's why I love audiobooks, because I just sometimes am too tired to read a page. So that is my reading journey and some of my booktube journey. Let me know in the comments how you became a reader, maybe what one of your favorite books was, or what book you read that started your love for reading. I would love to know. Thank you all for listening. Next week is going to be a Patreon vote, so that poll is already up. There's also a poll up for my Rainbow Book Club on Patreon, where we're going to read the Rainbow, so the red books are up for you to vote on, and we'll start reading in February. I'm still going to try and figure out how the bi-monthly thing's going to work, if I'm going to have us read in February, and then March we don't read a book, and then maybe April then we do. I still got to figure that out, but go and vote there if you're a patron, and if you're interested, you can become a Patreon member for $1. You'll become a paperback pal, and yeah, that's it. I'll see you next week with the Patreon vote. Thank you for listening. I hope you're all having a great week. And if not, I hope it gets better. And I will see you next week. Goodbye.